It's very important to me that people understand that personal branding is built on the foundation of authenticity. There's an angle of personal branding that encourages you to look your best and, feel your best. But there's also one half of the conversation which also empowers you to own not so best part of yourself and let that fuel you into being your best self. The concept of influence in our society has a look and a feel. And sometimes it can be very superficial. In other spaces, it can also be very authentic. The whole idea of being influential is because you have been able to craft a perception around you that makes you, one, a bit detached from everyday normal living, and two, powerful in reshaping how everyday normal living can be experienced by whoever you seek to impact. And so when we try to unpack what the idea of influence is and sort of attach it to being fake or being inauthentic, we are doing ourselves a grave mistake, because there have been thousands of examples of people who have tried to portray themselves as something they are not, which we can really easily tell anyways. And then there are also examples of people who have shared their own unique stories, their authentic selves, and have literally won our hearts by those things. Because again, by our own normal everyday living, having that connection with somebody who seems slightly distant from our reality makes us feel less alone in our own journey towards influence. And so why do we then say or label the concept of personal branding as being fake or being anything else but yourself, when we have all these thousands of examples? And I'm refusing to mention examples because I want you to help me with tons and tons of examples that you have seen of people that you look up to because they are their authentic self. I would really love to learn about them, follow them, and study their journey as well, because that is the whole concept of personal branding. It's quite unfortunate that one single portion of the conversation has always been the superficial side of the look and feel of influence being the sole driver of what personal branding should be, where there is also the authenticity, the realness, and connection to everyone else. That is part of the conversation that we don't usually have. And so in my own bid as a brand strategist, one of the things I try to do, especially when I work with personal brands or when I support professionals, take their branding seriously, that's something I really hammer. I don't encourage them to lie on their bios or lie on their online space. Like, be yourself. Like, there is space, there's room for you to be yourself and still meet people who can support you on your journey. There's no fulfillment in trying to fake and look a certain way just because you want to fit in. But then again, there's also the look and feel of influence, like I mentioned before, that before you can have entry into these spaces, you have to look a certain way and feel a certain way. But don't do it in isolation. Do it in combination. Do it holistically, so that you look the part, you look the part, you speak the part, but most essentially, it is a reflection of your true self, of your genuineness and your journey to those spaces. I love the concept of authenticity because for someone like me who grew up in a slum, it was something I struggled with for a long time. I couldn't believe anybody would want to get to know me for me. I felt like I needed to always look a certain way and speak a certain way and behave a certain way in order to fit in. There were some kinds of friends I couldn't have because they have totally different realities from me, and there was this huge disconnection. And it was just because I struggled with faking being someone else. I have been quite successful at it initially, but I realized that's not how I want to live. I want people to get to know me, my funny nature, my passionate and impact-driven self, everything all rolled up in one. I want people to experience that, and also to experience how intentional I am about getting more people into the spaces I'm in, and collaborating and partnering with others to drive change and also help people own their stories. Like, this is all of me, and that's what I hope comes alive through my work here on this page, and that's what I hope comes alive through my conversations with you, either as a client or as a friend or as a follower. So it's more like, front facing and back facing. We always try to focus on the front facing side, but we forget to do the inner work behind the scenes. And that's the whole concept of the holistic approach of personal branding that I love to talk about, or I'm trying to project on my pages.